biggest story that you haven't heard about is a massive FEC decision that has further weakened our already pathetic campaign finance laws in America.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
This story is amazing. It was covered by Sludge, and I mean, it got no attention other than the reporting over at Sludge. So it has to do with Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, who basically came to the FEC, Federal Elections Commission, with a very fishy request, and this was back in July. He asked the commission if his campaign could join with the Security is Strength PAC in a joint fundraising committee in which the two entities could share data and other information as required under the joint fundraising agreement and applicable FEC reporting regulations, and coordinate scheduling logistics regarding fundraising events. Okay, so let me just break this down. Lindsey Graham wanted to allow a pro-Lindsey Graham super PAC to coordinate with his campaign. Why is that a problem? That was literally the only thing left between unlimited money being funneled directly into the campaign coffers of these politicians.
Yeah.
Got no attention. This got no attention. Okay, so by the way, how did this all turn out? Well, it turns out that thanks to the FEC, the problem is now even worse. The FEC approved the Graham campaign's request to add a super PAC to its joint fundraising committee because it said the campaign attested in its proposal that it would not engage in financial transactions that violate campaign contribution limits and would not coordinate with the super PAC. But that's what he wanted to do. He literally said, I want to coordinate with the super PAC, and they're like, yes, you can go ahead and coordinate with the super PAC as long as you're not coordinating with the super PAC.
Yeah. So no, guys, this story's getting no attention, and this is exactly what ruins our democracy. This, right, it's the epicenter of corruption. So let me break it down a little bit for you guys. You remember Citizens United, of course, a terrible case that basically said, yeah, money in politics is totally fine. And these giant super PACs can rise up and go, I'm for Lindsey Graham for Senate. Oh, I happen to be a giant oil company or a defense contractor, and I'm paying millions of dollars into this PAC for Lindsey Graham, but I'm not coordinating and I'm being transparent about it. So you know that the defense contractor is giving that money. That was the Citizens United decision. That was already terrible. And they said there's no quid pro quo. Just because an oil company is giving money to a politician's PAC, nobody thinks that the politician will do them favors. First of all, that's insane. Everyone thinks that the politician will do them favors, and every politician does them favors. But at least in the decision, I mean, Citizens United was a giant cancer in our democracy. But it had two components that mitigated it a tiny bit. One was, well, they're gonna have to tell you who they are. They got rid of that immediately. Other cases, other FEC decisions, et cetera, came in and said, you don't have to tell anybody, you can just do dark money. Okay, so that's in violation of Citizens United, but no one cares. And then the last thing left was, yes, but at least the PAC cannot coordinate with the campaign. And now they're saying, well, maybe on the ads, but mailers and on the ground efforts, etc. But wait a minute, a mailer is an ad. So in so many different ways, they can now totally coordinate.
Yep, yeah.
So it's an exact quid pro quo that even Citizens United said is illegal.
So the Federal Election Commission approved Lindsey Graham's request 4-1, though, and then one person decided to abstain. FEC Vice Chair Ellen Weintraub, who cast the lone dissenting vote, stated the following. Although Team Graham states it will not discuss the non-public campaign plans, projects, activities, or needs of Senator Graham or his campaign with the Security is Strength PAC, Team Graham acknowledges that it will discuss its private campaign plans and strategies with the Joint Fundraising Committee, of which Security is Strength PAC is a member. These assertions are contradictory. Exactly, they are contradictory. By the way, look, this focuses on Lindsey Graham because he's the one who made the request. But understand, this impacts all politicians. All. Democrat, Republican, I don't care what their political ideology is, this is sick. But let me continue. She continues to say, unfortunately, the commission has already created far too many holes in what should be a solid wall dividing candidates and their committees from the super PACs that support them. Because I'm unwilling to pull another brick from that essential barrier, I respectfully dissent.
There should be nothing respectful about it. The other FEC commissioners are crooks. They're totally corrupt. It used to be that the FEC was useless because whenever you had an election problem, it's split 3-3, which makes sense because if one side has an advantage, they're just going to rule on their own side and against the other side every time, right? So they have 3-3, so they'd get deadlocked and both sides would be able to cheat. But then one of the Democrats flipped and basically became a Republican and started saying yes to all the Republican cheating. So now there's no FEC, there's no rules, there's no nothing. So you can just do whatever the hell you want, you just bribe anyone. It's open season. That's why Trump's going around on stage going, Elon gave me a lot of money, so now I'm in favor of electric vehicles. Jeff Yazd gave me a lot of money, so I don't want to ban TikTok anymore. He owns TikTok or a part of TikTok. The oil companies gave me a lot of money, so I say drill, baby, drill. There's no rules left. It's open corruption. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. Oh, we are very upset at what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. No, of course we won't cut their funding. Why? Because AIPAC gave him 11 million, her 5 million, and on it goes. So guys, this is a legal January 6th. But you're never gonna see it on CNN. You're never gonna see congressional hearings about it. This is how they destroy our democracy and make corruption and bribery in this country perfectly legal. And this is how we lost our democracy.
Yeah. And I should note, look, Ellen Weintraub, who's the one dissenting voice in this whole mess, was actually appointed by George W. Bush, a Republican. So I wanted to make that clear. But out of the 6, 4 of the FEC members were appointed by Donald Trump. One other who actually voted in favor of giving Lindsey Graham what he wanted here was appointed by Joe Biden. So it is incredible to see how this is played out, and it's amazing how little attention this gets. In fact, this video will get very little views. It's gonna probably drag the algorithm down on our channel, but it's important to cover it. And if you want to get this message out, please share this video, guys. It's important for American voters on both sides of the political aisle to understand what is happening behind the scenes that disempowers ordinary American voters and continues to further empower the richest people in this country who seem to have a bigger voice and more sway over our politicians than ordinary people do.